Hello, I'm Benny Westside, and welcome to the crash course for Moondragon. Today we're going to talk about Moondragon's rework, her updated abilities, T4 upgrades, ISO 8 options, building levels, gear, as well as Dark Dimension prospects. And then I'm going to talk about what I did with her. Up on the screen right now, I have the crash course infographic, which is basically like a summary sheet for what we're going to talk about today. And then in the video, we're going to discuss in detail. I'll link this down below. I'm actually close to 3,000 subs on YouTube and getting close to 6,000 on Instagram. I'd love to be able to get there by the end of the year, so if you can help me out, I'd appreciate it. But without further ado, let's get into it. So I like starting out with the abilities, and we're gonna look at her passive first. When this character, an Infinity Watch or an Astral ally, drops below 50% health, she's gonna apply Evade, Defense Up, and Deflect. It's similar to Psylocke's passive, and then she also gives 30% Drain to the Astral team. This is really nice. I really enjoy Drain as a mechanic. It's underrated and I would say underappreciated because it's not immediately noticeable, but it does a lot. Like there are teams that focus mainly on Drain for their sustain, like what's that team called? The one with North Star and Sasquatch, Alpha Flight, that team, and then Night Stalkers to an extent. Yeah, Drain. I like Drain. Anyway, the T4 in Battle World. When an enemy attacks this character or an Astral ally, bury yourself and all allies for 5% of this character's max health. I think this is very nice. It's not essential, but it's a nice little boost. She's a support character and she's supporting the team. I think it's nice. I would definitely recommend it, but not essential. And then uh, before we get on, all of the Astral members have awakened abilities. These awakenings, literally all they do is expand their battle world synergy into war. So if you're not big into war, or if you're just catching up to the game as an early mid game player, those might not really be priorities for you. So looking at Moondragons, again, it's going to give that barrier when an enemy attacks an Astral ally. It's very nice, but one, it's tied to war. Two, it's not essential. So this is not really something to go out of your way for. Now, next week, there's going to be an event, and I don't know, by the time I post this, it might already be up. Anyway, there's going to be an event with an event store, the Turkey Shop, where there's going to be Doctor Strange Awakening, Moondragon Awakening, and I believe Mephisto Red Star Orbs, which sounds like a lot of RNG. But anyway, so of those three, this is definitely the lowest priority. I mean, Mephisto Red Stars are obviously the hot ticket item, but the orbs might just be awful to the degree that it's just wasteful to spend the turkeys on it. I don't know. Doctor Strange's awakenings are much more impactful. All right, here we go. Let's look at her special. Meditation Wave. This is on a 5-turn cooldown and it comes ready. Flip immunity on primary target. Clear all positive effects from all enemies. Attack primary target for damage plus 5% of the target's max health. And apply slow for 2 turns and rewind by 30%. Heal all allies for 30% of this character's max health. Apply defense up and deflect. Apply immunity to self and all Infinity Watch allies. And she gets extra focus for this attack, which is really nice. The T4 upgrade adds more damage, and it increases the rewind from 30 to 50%, and it gives immunity to Astral allies as well. I'm gonna call this essential. It does a lot of things, this ability. It's a very powerful one, and this upgrade is a very nice one. All right, let's look at her ultimate. This ultimate used to come on turn 3, but they updated the ability cost, so it comes on turn 2 now. It's on a 6 turn cooldown, again, comes on turn 2. Heal all allies for 15%, apply defense down for 2 turns to all enemies, attack all enemies for 340. It's nice that she applies the defense down before attacking. The T4 adds more damage, adds more healing, and then in Battle World, she applies Disrupted to all enemies for 2 turns. I think this is very, very nice. Is it essential? Disrupted isn't something I like, that it's very powerful, but I don't see it as like this decision maker between essential, where a stun, trauma, or ability block might, maybe a blind. So I'm not gonna call it essential, but know that this is a very good upgrade. And then the T4 again puts the disrupted on the enemies in war. In the graphic, you'll see that I highlighted these red for war. So like if you don't care about war, or if you are in a spot where you just can't care about war, you have to focus on everything else. War is kind of like a luxury game mode, if it's kind of. So yeah. Again, also I generally don't like putting essential on uh, awakened abilities. Anyway, all right, let's look at her basic. If there is more than one non-summoned enemy, mind control. This is very wordy. Mind control one enemy to attack primary. Uh, the controlled character gains extra damage. Attack for damage plus percent 5% max health damage. That's very nice. Apply assist now to a random 5 level ally. And then this attack deals less damage to Astral. This is very nice. All of the Astral characters deal less damage to Astral allies on their ISO attack for mind controls, because in the boss node, Null applies a new negative effect, which is darkness, and that's essentially mind control. So this is part of how the team is built for Battle World. All right. The T4 upgrade adds extra damage to primary target, extra damage for the mind controlled enemy, and then it applies assist now to one random astral ally. I wouldn't call this essential, but it is very, very nice. So I would definitely recommend it. All right, so those are her abilities. Now, in terms of ISO, it's a little ambiguous. This team isn't as clear cut. One thing to note is you're gonna want a lot of raiders, so you don't want to go too hard on strikers or healers. But because and the reason for that is the ancient one gives ability energy on astral ally crit, so you're gonna want to crit as much as possible. In that regard, Moondragon has a couple options. You could run her as a raider to feed into that. You could run her as a striker because she has percent damage on her basic and ISO. However, I would say Doctor Strange's. I think Doctor Strange does 3%. So like hers is a little better, and then Emma Frost's ISO attack applies regen, I believe, to the full team, or at least the weakest, something like that. So those three are the strikers that you can choose from, but that's for you to choose. I don't recommend doing all three as strikers. At most, I would say at least 3 characters should be raiders, um, and then the 2 can be striker or healer or also raiders, honestly. Um, yeah, this is flexible, so it's more up to your preference. And then the third option for her is healer because she has big heals on her special and her ultimate, so you would be supplementing that. But yeah, I can't give a very definitive decision for this one. Um, all three of those are solid options. In terms of building her, she's very good. I love her. She's very powerful. I think of the five, she's probably that is um, the one that gets subbed out. Maybe Doctor Strange, maybe Emma Frost, but like she does a lot of good things. Defense ups, the healing. Um, but that goes to say like the investment. She probably isn't the ideal focus of your investment for this team. Um, one thing to note is that a lot of the things she does, she can do with less stats as well. Because she's doing healing, she's doing clearing, rewinding. The clear gets extra focus. Applying defense up, deflect, immunity. You don't need stats for that. Applying evade, defense up, deflect on the passive. The drain. Like she's somebody on the team where you can get away with, diverting resources from her to, Shadow King or the Ancient One. So keep that in mind. I still recommend, going hard on her, but you know, she's somebody you can just hold back a little bit more on and still be okay. I would recommend level 95 probably still, um, gear 17, 18, and then like if you are able to just go all the way, which is what I did. I went all the way. I even put 3 diamonds on her, which might have been impulsive, but I like her. I love Infinity Watch, and I did it more so. I'll be honest, for Infinity Watch than for Astral, because just she made that team so much better just by getting the extra stats that I wanted to go hard, and it's been fun. I'm using Infinity Watch in War right now. They do really well into New Avengers. I'm not saying do not build Infinity Watch if you already haven't. Like, don't build old meta characters. The new stat meta is so powerful that I like I haven't been able to put Crimson Gear or Purple ISO on anybody that was released before Ares recently. It just feels wrong to do that, so I've been in a holding pattern. And honestly, that's what I would recommend too. Don't build Infinity Watch if they already weren't built. So mine was built. I think Moondragon was gear 18, level 95. Once she got reworked, I just went the extra 5 levels, gear 19, and then I put the diamond on her. They've been very powerful. I think I used Infinity Watch with Odin to beat a Mephisto with, was it Orcus or was it Hivemind? I don't remember. I see Mephisto teams a lot in War with those raid teams. So like off the top of my head I can't remember, but it did work. So yeah, Moondragon's great. I love her. All right, in terms of Dark Dimension, I'm gonna say she's a decent choice, but in Cosmic, there's usually a lot better choices. Um, her being skill makes her very attractive. So keep her in mind if you're short on Mystic or something else, and you have a lot of skill that you are trying to use. You wouldn't regret her, but I don't think she's like at the top echelon of choices for Cosmic. Especially in Dark Dimension 8, where you can also bring in uh, things like Mephisto, Logan, your legendaries qualify, your mythics qualify. So over there, it's a lot harder to bring her. But in Dark Dimension 7 and before, for example, those non-mythic cosmics, she could see some use. Yeah, especially as a skill character, I could see that. Um, Let me see. We did gear, we did ISO, we did T4s, Dark Dimension. I told you what I did. I think that's about it. Um, yeah, I'm very happy with this rework. Um, I'm I'm planning something nice for the Doctor Strange and Ancient One videos. I hope I can execute it. Those should be coming in the next couple days. Um, but yeah, and then before I go, I did want to make this PSA. Uh, these reworked characters, you see, I try to wait, or I don't try, I do wait until the characters are updated in the game. We see the T4s, just so I can give you guys my clearest opinion, because I can't just do guesswork on which T4s you can upgrade. So, and I think I mean that's to make a more informed decision, and I think that should expand to characters as a whole. I never recommend building a character just because you know they're gonna get a rework, whether that is via rumors or leaks or official word. You know, we knew Moon Knight was gonna get a rework, but you know he turned out to be not a great one. So like he's fine, but for myself, for example, who's always low on gold, he would have been a bad character to have pre-upgraded. Um, so I would like to urge you to be mindful. Just because you hear or know that somebody's going to get a rework doesn't necessarily mean that that rework is going to be helpful for your roster. Especially if you're a newer player or somebody in the mid game, you're still trying to catch up to the meta. Uh, I would say you probably can't really afford to go off on tangents or teams that aren't really towards improving your roster, um, or pushing your roster faster. That's my little take on it. Just keep that in mind. Um, there's no rush to build reworked characters or characters that are going to get a rework before the rework even hits, because like just hold on. You can hold on to that resource and do it then. That's my take on it. I wouldn't recommend going in on things like that. Um, we try to get you the best information we can. Uh, I admit I have been slower on videos and graphics recently. It's just work has been super tight, and then frankly my um, excitement for the game has waned a little bit. But I do try to give you guys my clean and clear opinion, and I try to be honest with you. So that's all I have to say about that. That was a quick PSA and my 2 cents on that. Thank you for reviewing Moondragon with me. I hope to see you in the next one.